gave us the information as to how they do it, it's referred to as hieroglyphics. When you go to an institution of higher learning, they will tell you that the Greeks would be the ones that would be the dominant force of this information. When their historian Herodotus went over to Tyre Mayore and admits that the beings that were there, they had woolly hair, big lips, broad noses. We refer to what they call the hieroglyphics as Safuf. This was in our writings. And in the Safuf, one of the great teachers there, Zehuti, as another liberator of the females. And he gave us this axiom that we need to incorporate in our understanding in this day and time. And it simply goes, while it's usually true that all things are in to all, then it's also true that the all is in all. Let me say it one more time. While it's true that all things are in the all, the definite article, the all, then it's also true that the all is in all. That would be our concept as Nawapians of what you're calling a deity, as a god. Because when we refer to our females as God, the woman is God, people get bent out of shape and they say, you don't believe in God? Do you mean that you're the creator of the boundless universe? Yeah. So who am I? And who are you? I'm God. Let me introduce myself as God. Let me bring to your awareness that you're God. Males and females, but the females are first on the physical plane. But don't get bent out of shape. Ask me to explain myself first. Because I'm going to take you back to that ancient axiom of Zehuti.
That's right.
Because the concept of God, the way you have in monotheism, is once the informers left and that concept turned to terror, it turned to fear. Because you forgot what was already placed inside. So our method or our concept of creation, right? Because we're dealing with difference from creation. When we talk about that this is an illusion, we have to deal with our concept of creation. Because we grew things. Nuwapu, Wunuwapu, the science of sound right reasoning, teaches that there's 3 creations, not 1. But because of monotheism, you're saying, hold on, how can you create 3 times? Because in that concept is that, okay, that you created something, that you brought something into existence that did not exist before. But if you was to search the etymological meaning, and that's one of the things that the master teacher, His Excellency Malachi New York, has been stressing for years. We don't want to be believed, check it out. So if you was to search the etymological meaning of creation, you was to see that it finds its way in the English language by way of Latin. And it simply means to grow. So if it had to grow, then it must have existed. What was the state that it grew in? In other words, you understand that when the sperm hit the ovum, that it had to have grown from a single point. Right? So it had to exist in a state of existence. So you're the process. Creation represents a process. You're from one point and you move from that point to this point. So in ancient Talmud, we also mentioned to you about what was the riddle of life. There was a riddle of life. And in that riddle, that it was simply said that what crawls on 4, walks on 2, and dawdles along on 3. And in that concept, it's talking about the age of a baby that crawls on 4. It's talking about the adolescence that you will go through as adulthood and then old age. That's a process that everybody is going to go through. But before that process, you were grown. Now you existed prior to that. Now when we start dealing with emotional energies and the fact that this is an illusion, this is not real. You have to incorporate in that comprehension of that statement that it's not 7 states of existence as the Hindus teach. That's for them. As the Chinese teach. That's for them. As Caucasians teach. That's for them. But you would be the root seed of all of them. So it's not just 7 for you, it's 9. 9 is the highest of all numbers. But when you say, well, what about 10? What about 11? Those are composites. 10 is 1. 1 and 0. What about 11? 11 is 2. 1 and 1. Well, what about 12 and 13? 12 is 3. 1 and 2 is 3. And 13 is 4. And 4 would represent the sacred point, the female, the mistress of darkness, where things have grown from a point of singularity out of the womb. Now, as the scroll, Actual Facts number 19, who is God, female or male, it explains that the female is the only one that can realize another person's existence because she gives birth to a child. Everybody else, the men, we have to look on in amazement. Right? Any of you men that was there and you had children, you're supposed to be there, right? To shower that protection as the baby's coming out of the womb, right? For those of us that was there, all we could do is just be giddy and just sit around and we couldn't do nothing else, right? She was doing all the work, right? But at that point, to be given birth to, it's a process. We already existed prior to that. She's the only one that's able to share that existence. So, from every point that you're at in this small room, this setting, is the center point of your universe. You have to understand, when we start talking about emotional energies, right, you affect everything around you. Right. That's why it's very important to give a person a nice greeting. Yeah. You live in a city that is customary to frown at people. Right? When you should be greeting everybody. You should be exchanging energies with everybody. But you live in a city that is customary and it's okay to frown. I gotta put a frown on my face because I gotta show that I'm tough. Well, that person, would you say? You're traumatized. But that's your brother and that's your sister. That's you. Meaning that from the point that I'm at, it's existing outside of me. From me to me. And from you to you. Everybody in this room is an equal distance around you. You're the only one that can verify your own existence. This is important to understand now. It's important to understand because it relates to 2012. It relates to 2013, according to the Gregorian calendar. Right? You have to understand that there is no God. That's spookism. I know what, now some of y'all, I see them looks on your face. I'm just going to wait till the next speaker come on. I'm going to shut down. I don't want to hear anything else you got to say because it's got to be God. No, you're the God. When we talk about spookism, when the nation of God's earth, 5% was talking about we don't believe in no spook gods, where they got that from the nation of Islam, right? Who is the original man? The maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization, God of the universe? Well, let's explain that now, what they were talking about, the God of the universe. The God of the universe just simply means that everything starts from you, from a point of singularity and then going out. What the master teacher, His Excellency, Malachi New York, is taking a step further from what those forerunners have taught, is to explain it and attach it to a point where we knew that in ancient Tayyamaya, ancient Egypt, Shemet, as you may refer to it as. When it talked about you would be the central point where everything is emanating outside of you. But to refer to yourself as such, that means you have to respond to everything. When the informers left, and that concept of us taking responsibility, we wanted to put that responsibility in some unseen force. Oh, help me, God. No, you're going to help yourself. The helping hand that you're looking for is at the end of your arm. You've got to go and do the forces to help yourself. You wanted an outside force to be able to help you. So now, you would be the God